Hello, everyone. My name's Danielle. I am the Public Programs and Visitor Services Manager at the Morris-Jumel Mansion. So happy that you guys could join us tonight for a very special VPC. And if you haven't attended so far, Virtual Parlor Chats are our monthly offering of virtual programming. It varies on topics, but this week we're very lucky because we have the intern who's been with us all summer, Will Bompey, here to talk to us about Bloomberg Connects. So I am going to be kind of hands-off today, running tech behind the scenes. So Will is gonna take it over, kind of take the lead here on some things. But just a reminder, you can always throw questions in the chat throughout the entire presentation, and we will talk about them during the Q&A portion of the evening, which we will have once Will is finished up with showing you all the wonderful things that he's been doing all summer and how he's helped us bring Morris-Jumel Mansion into the digital age. So Will, I will turn it over to you. I'm going to go off camera and mute, and you're good to go.
Excellent. Thank you, Danielle. Hello, everyone. My name's Will, and for the past few months, I've been interning at the Morris-Jumel Mansion under Danielle. I've mostly been focused on this Bloomberg Connects project, which we'll all learn about together in just a bit. But I've also been working in other programming and other visitor service aspects as well. So just a quick history of the mansion. I'm sure most of us are familiar with it, but just in case, the Morris-Jumel Mansion was built in 1765. It's the oldest remaining residence in Manhattan. We do know that it was likely built, ran, and funded using enslaved labor due to the Morris' ties to the enslaved labor trade. For 6 weeks in 1776, it was also used as George Washington's headquarters during the Battle of Harlem Heights. And then it later housed Eliza Jumel, former Vice President Aaron Burr, along with Anne Northup, the wife of Solomon Northup, who wrote 12 Years a Slave. In 1904, it became a museum, and it's been a museum ever since. Some upcoming programs we have August 24th and 25th. In the park, we have jazz at the mansion with Marjorie Elliott, as always. I'm sure that will be outstanding. Tuesdays through August 27th, we'll be continuing our Yoga in the Park series. It's been great so far. Hopefully the weather cooperates with us for one more Tuesday. September 14th, we're going to have our Con Ed Family and Community Day. And then September 18th, we'll have another virtual parlor chat with a topic to be announced. So let's get started on talking about Bloomberg Connects. So I'm sure all of us know Michael Bloomberg, whether we're from New York City and remember him as mayor, or just know that he runs this financial thing that, frankly, I don't know a lot about. We know he has a lot of money. Something that's really important to understand with that is he's started this organization called Bloomberg Philanthropies. And Bloomberg Connects is one project within Bloomberg Philanthropies. So what is Bloomberg Connects? It's an app, to put it simply, that offers access to over 500 cultural organizations and museums around the country and globe, so can be used internationally as well. All with the aim of bringing free to use, easy to use, and informative guides to users inside and outside of the museum. Each guide within the app, including ours, offers exclusive content and more VIP-esque access into the mansion, potentially behind the scenes, or just more in-depth analysis of pieces and objects. This came from Mike Bloomberg taking a private tour of the Met with the curator, and after the tour, he remarked to someone that he wanted this to be available to everyone, not just someone who donates a lot of money to the museum, pardon me. So he came up with the idea of Bloomberg Connects, and about 5 years ago, it started. So it's really exciting. It can be used virtually anywhere in the world. It's not just dedicated to inside the museum. I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but you can use it from wherever you want. You do not have to be in the museum to use the guide. And it's absolutely free to use for visitors with no limits on usage. So you can go to all 500 cultural organizations and museums if you want and explore each of their guides within Bloomberg Connects. And it's a really great opportunity to not only find hidden gems that you might not know about, but also learn more about ones that you were really familiar with. So why did we partner with Bloomberg? We wanted to bring a guide to the mansion for quite a while. I think an audio guide and something that is multisensory within the mansion has been on the program for a while. But we've never really had the funding to do so until Bloomberg Connects. So it gives us the opportunity to expand that virtual and in-person offerings that we've wanted to do for so long. We're going to be able to bring audio tours to people that really want them. We're going to be able to cater more to our neighborhood and its diversity with the translation aspect of Bloomberg Connects, which I'll talk about a little more later. It also connects us to that network of 500 plus institutions around the globe so we can collaborate with them on different initiatives. And it takes away the back end complications of creating a bespoke virtual guide, which I can say, as someone who's been working on this, I do not have a ton of coding experience, and I found it really easy to get this all set. So I think that speaks multitudes to the work that's being put in behind the scenes in the Bloomberg Connects team, and what they're doing to really further their own mission. I mean, there's so many other reasons that we partnered with Bloomberg, but these are just some of them, and I'm really excited to show you some key aspects. So a couple key features. We can go over the whole guide more extensively in the Q&A if you have specific questions, but I really wanted to highlight 4 main features that I really viewed as fundamental to the understanding of Bloomberg Connects and what it will bring to the mansion. So first, we're going to take a look at the interior and exterior maps aspect. So when you open the guide, you'll be prompted to see the home page, a lookup page, in which you can type in a room number or object number, and it'll locate that item for you. The map, which I'm going to talk about briefly in a second, and then an info screen, which typically houses a brief description about the mansion, as well as our operating hours. The map itself is really special because we're able to showcase not only the mansion itself, but the surrounding area. So on the screen right now, we see a map of the ground floor of the mansion. That is floor 1. Floor 0 would be the colonial kitchen that we have in the basement level. And then floor 2 is the second floor with rooms such as the Washington War Room and Eliza's bedroom. When you click on the red dot on each of the rooms, you'll be able to see a brief description about that room, as well as any associated audio within the tour that we are in the process of creating. You can also take a look at individual objects within the room. So say you want to go to the Octagon room and learn more about the Duncan Fife suite of furniture. When you click on that red pin right where it says Octagon room, you'll be taken to the Octagon room page. And if you scroll down, you'll be able to learn more about the suite furniture just by clicking on it. You'll also be able to see photos that we've had done by Bruce Katz, an amazing partner of ours that we're so grateful to have on board with us for this project, and many, many other details that we're not necessarily able to do due to the size of the team on the mansion. This gives us a really amazing opportunity to showcase everything we want people to know, everything that people who spend a lot of time in the mansion do know. We want that to be easily accessible for everyone. And the map makes it really intuitive to figure out where something is, what something is, and it just creates a really seamless user experience as soon as you step foot in the door. With the exterior maps that's not shown, Bloomberg Connects is an integration with Google Maps that allows us to use pretty much exactly what you would use on Google Maps, whether that's on your computer or phone, just like you're driving. You'd be able to use that same map and go on our walking tours of the neighborhood, which we have displayed in the app currently, as well as on our website in PDF form. We're going to translate those over into Bloomberg Connects and make sure that those are accessible as well. But also you can zoom in and explore the park as well with different geo-located pins that allow you to explore details of, say, the sunken garden or the mile marker, or if you want to learn more about Roger Morris Park and the Heritage Roses. It's all going to be available on that exterior map, which unfortunately is not shown because at the time of creating the slideshow, it wasn't quite built yet. But when we go to the next slide, yes, perfect, thank you, Danielle. This is what it looks like when you click on one of the pins. So say we're on the second floor and I'm visiting the mansion and I want to learn more about the Washington War Room. When I click on that pin, it'll be able to tell me a brief description about the room itself, any objects that are found within that room, and any audio associated. At the time of taking this image, the audio file was not created. However, by the time the guide is live, there will be an audio file. In addition to the audio files that you can find just clicking around and clicking on different pins, on the home screen, there's an ability to show guided tours, whether that be a self-guided audio tour, which we're creating specifically for this app, or the Northrop experience, which we recently launched in person. We're going to bring that to the app. And that way, you have multiple options to go about touring the mansion. You can do the classic self-guided tour, or you can do a thematic one, or you can take our walking tours, which will also have audio components eventually down the road added to them. It's a really great way to learn more about what you're seeing that's not on the placard. The placards that are displayed on the landings in each room have pretty basic details about the origin of the object, how old it is, where it's from, and who it belonged to. We want to tell more than that. We want to give you as much detail as we possibly can without it feeling overwhelming. Because if we put a bunch of words up, it can feel like information overload, pardon me. This way, if you want to learn more about a specific object, you can click on the link and it will show you anything you want to know about that object. But if you don't want to learn about it, you don't have to click it. It's very simple and very easy. As we go to the in-depth item descriptions, you can see the images that we've worked with Bruce Katz to take, as well as any creator details that we wanted to highlight. So for Duncan Fife, which is probably the most famous creator we have in the mansion, we've really focused on creating a little bit of a backstory with him, and especially the chairs themselves in the Octagon room. You can see that this all isn't available on the placards within the mansion itself. So this is another way to kind of create another VIP experience within the mansion. It's a really unique opportunity and allows us to bring more to visitors from wherever, whenever, even if we're not able to do so in person. If we go down more on the home screen, this shows us the ability to also highlight some events. So say we wanted to highlight our next Virtual Parlor Chat in September. We'll be able to show what that upcoming event is on the Bloomberg Connects app. So anyone, anywhere who's clicking on our guide will have access to our events calendar and be able to see exactly what we have going on in person and virtual. We're also going to be able to showcase the ongoing special exhibitions that we have in the exhibition hall on the second floor, such as the one we have right now by Bruce Katz, and then any following ones. Those will be updated with the time frame that we're going to have them on display. To talk about what we want to do in the future, in terms of what it's going to look like right now, we are finalizing content, and the guide should be ready to launch to the public in mid to late September, barring any further delays. With this, we'll have the self-guided audio tour, which I'm really excited about personally. I think that's going to be a great addition to anyone who's visiting the mansion, as well as everything I've mentioned thus far. However, there's so many opportunities for expansion. Once we publish this, it's not hard set at all. We can adjust it as many times as we want. It's as easy as clicking a couple buttons and clicking save. It's very easy on our end, and we're so excited that we have the ability to bring this all to you. Some things that we really want to do are increase our video programming. There's so many interesting stories that have to do with the mansion that we feel need video to do it justice. And we're really excited to have a platform that we can finally bring that to our visitors. We're also going to be able to do more thematic audio tours. So the Northrop experience is a thematic audio tour that we partnered with the Black Gotham experience to bring to the mansion. We would love to do so many more of those. And while this might take a while and it might require a little bit more process, we're really, really excited about the possibility of bringing these different experiences to the mansion. So whether it's your first time there or you come 10 times a year, there's always going to be something new at the city's oldest mansion. We're also going to be able to collaborate with other institutions in our neighborhood. With this network, we're able to work with other organizations around us. Like, I believe the Met has one. I know the Hispanic Society on Broadway has one, pardon me. There are quite a few in Manhattan, and it's really encouraged to collaborate. So that's something we're really looking forward to doing and working with other organizations to work within our larger city. I think sometimes the city can feel so large. We really want to make sure we can make it feel small and interconnected as best we can. And then lastly, we're really excited to bring some exclusive collection showcases to you. Something that Presley's our administrative coordinator and kind of our curator. We've been working on going into the archive and our collections and seeing what's not on display that we really want to showcase to you. Again, this is something that we've wanted the opportunity to do for a long time. And with the constraints of a physical space, it's obviously hard to place more objects on display without taking some out. This is a way to remedy that. We're able to go in to the collections, say Presley wants to highlight this piece of porcelain that Eliza Jumel owned. We can highlight that. And it's really easy. And it's a really great way to expand the knowledge base of our visitors if they want to. There's also so many more possibilities for expansion, but those are just a few that I've really honed in on. I think this is a great step forward for the mansion. I'm so excited to see this in person once it's all set. And I've played around with it a couple times walking around the mansion and done test runs. And I think it's going to be a great way to enhance the visitor experience in ways that we really haven't seen before. And I think it's just going to go absolutely swimmingly. And I couldn't be more excited. So if there's nothing else for me, so any questions are more than welcome.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Will. That was awesome. We're very lucky that you could come on and just give us all the info that you've gathered over the summer. So let's open the floor. Be sure to throw those questions into the Q&A feature of the Zoom webinar. And then that way Will can answer any questions that you might have about the Bloomberg Connects guide for the Morris-Jumel mansion. Could be super simple, super specific, doesn't matter, but go ahead and put those questions in.
To answer that question, we don't have an exact date yet, but we're aiming for the third week of September. How it works is we lock our content starting September 4th, which I believe is the Wednesday after Labor Day. In the 2 weeks between that and our launch date, we're going to be able to review it with copy editors from Bloomberg Connects and make sure it's all consistent, following a certain style guide, and just flows in general. So barring any additional holdups, we're aiming for somewhere around September 21st, but there's no concrete date set yet. Certainly, we're hoping before the end of September to answer that.
And the question was...
Sorry.
The question for that one, just so folks know, is when is the guide expected to be live? So that was that question just now. And then another question is this accessed through an iPhone?
Yes, it is. So Bloomberg Connects all runs through an app. What we're going to be able to do is allow all visitors who enter the mansion, we're going to have a QR code right by the visitor service desk. They'll be able to download the app, and that way, regardless of how many institutions they go to, they'll always be able to access the guide. It's all housed on one app, makes it super easy for users in that way. But yes, it is accessible through an iPhone, through an app on the App Store, just like any other thing. So that's something we really loved about it, was the ease of adoption for visitors. It's very easy to get on board with it and very easy to have everyone be able to access the guide.
Alrighty. And then kind of going off of that, and this is probably a good question for folks to hear. Why would you recommend this app or downloading the app in general for a museum visitor?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many great reasons to do so. But I think a really important one is, I think some people can go to a museum and think you go one time, you see it all, in a sense, right? I think Bloomberg Connects completely gets rid of that notion. I think the app itself not only brings a bunch of exclusive content and ever-changing content to our mansion, but also all the cultural institutions that are involved with Bloomberg Connects. I think it's really important to understand as well that this is a way to learn about new places within the city, within the country, within our region, wherever that may be. Some of these places that are on there, we might not have ever known. And with the way that the Bloomberg Connects app is set up, they're all available for you right at the touch of a finger. If you can't make it to the mansion for whatever reason, you'll also be able to explore the mansion that way. And it's a really great way to immerse yourself further in the experience, whether that's in person or virtually.
Alrighty, thank you for that. And then another question is, how do you see MJM using the app to collaborate with other uptown cultural arts partners to raise the visibility, of our institutions and increase visitorship?
I think there are multiple ways. I think just through the nature of collaboration, it's inherent that more institutions being able to co-promote means more eyes, which hopefully means more visitors. I think another really great thing is the ability that we have to utilize the Bloomberg Connect social media page, which is something that's really important. They have a very large reach as is, and we're going to be able to partner with them as soon as we launch to co-promote posts, co-promote events, whatever that may be, to bring it to a wider audience inside and outside of New York City. I think another thing is that when you initially look on the app and scroll through guides, if you're in New York City and say you're going to a larger museum like the Met, they're on Bloomberg Connects, but also, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. When you go to the Met, for example, and you click on their guide on Bloomberg Connects, you'll be able to see all the museums and cultural institutions that are nearby, and we're nearby. So just by the nature of people going to a more popular museum using the app, people will be informed of the mansion that way. I also think it really gives us another avenue through which we can promote on social media. I think it's a really great thing that we can advertise. And Bloomberg has an entire marketing team that we get to work with to collaborate on initiatives to bring more visitors in, to bring more eyes onto our guide, to bring more people into the mansion itself. So it's all kind of very self-serving in a sense that by participating in this network, we get a bunch of benefits from the network, and the benefits of the network largely stem from the size of that network and the proximity of that network and the reach of that network. So I think there's a bunch of opportunities through which we can use this to expand our reach.
Alrighty. And then another question we had is there a way to actively cross-promote specifically with other similar sites such as Dykeman Farmhouse, Ronce's Tavern, The Grange, etc.? Those similar sites.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't speak necessarily for specific institutions just because I don't know every single one that's on the Bloomberg Connects app itself. However, I can give a couple examples. I know that the Historic House Trust, which obviously we're all familiar with through its work with us, is on Bloomberg Connects. So therefore, we can work with other partners within the Historic House Trust to co-promote this guide. I also know that the Merchant's House Museum, just to name one in specific, is also on this, so we can co-promote with them. I know that the Cloisters is on it. I can't speak for the ones that were mentioned in specific. However, I do know that there is an ability to cross-promote, and it is encouraged to cross-promote with other organizations that are on the app. speaking in terms of organizations that are outside the app, we can promote this. We just have to use certain language, but it is possible. We've been in discussion about how we want to go forward with using this kind of coded language, just because there are intellectual property discussions about what we can say and can't say when it comes to people who aren't partnered with Bloomberg. But we can certainly promote the fact that we have this new virtual guide free to use for every visitor. And we can work with other organizations to make sure that they are telling their visitors about our guide as well.
And I think there's also a way just of kind of partnering with those folks either on the guide or not. We will be able to utilize the guide as a way to actively draw folks in just on our end alone. So we're advertising for MJM if we're doing a program or we've developed a walking tour. But then it's really good for kind of all of our HHT friends and all of those that we were kind of talking about from the question. It does good for everyone in a really awesome way, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. To echo Danielle, I think it's very much all ships rise with the rising tide, and this is a way that we can dump some more water in the ocean, proverbially. I think it's a really great way to expand the experience in person and virtually for the museum. So I'm really excited about the possibility of working with other organizations to hopefully get them on board with Bloomberg Connects, because just speaking from personal experience, I'm sure Danielle can echo all my sentiments, but they've been nothing but great to work with, and they couldn't have made this process easier in terms of implementation and the process of really going through and creating this. So I'm super thankful to that team, and definitely would recommend it to any cultural institution that is looking to create a guide.
Alrighty, so we'll do one more second for any other questions that we might have. Oh, I see we got one right as I was saying that. Would the app allow MJM to create materials for specific clients, quote unquote, such as hotels, to enrich the visitor experience of their guest?
So unfortunately, we can't do visitor specific guides. However, what we can do is if there's a certain time that, say, a client or group is visiting that's different from the museum hours, whether that's a private tour or whatever that may look like, we can update the guide to reflect certain interests that we want to show for each client. During operating hours, it will be visible to everyone who's using the guide at that moment. But something that's great about the Bloomberg Connects thing is we can update it pretty much instantaneously. So we can put something up as soon as a client or person is in the mansion and we want to highlight that. And then as soon as they leave, we can take it down and create it again, back or go back to the way it is normally, I would say.
I think there was a follow up to that one, just to maybe elaborate a little more about guests who are visiting hotels. So I think they mean hotels in the area, maybe some sort of advertising in that way, getting out into the community. And you can let me know if I kind of hit the nail on the head with, okay, yes. So that is what that meant.
Understood.
So
Understood.
like specialized advertising in a way.
Absolutely. It is something we can absolutely do. Yeah. So something that's great is that we, like I mentioned previously, there's this whole marketing team that works with Bloomberg Connects clients to create printed and virtual materials. So what we can do is if there's a specific hotel we want to place bookmarks or postcards in, we can work with the Bloomberg Connect team, albeit with a little bit of lead time, to create something specific for that place and place it there. It's very easy to do, no additional cost to us, and we can specifically target the messaging any way we want, to specific clients or hotels or areas, whatever that may be. It's a very easy process and one that is absolutely doable. It just might take a little time just because there is a production aspect to it all.
Alrighty, so any more questions? Give it a few seconds. Alrighty, so I think that brings us to the end. Are there any last wrap up notes that you'd like to add, Will, just to kind of, wrap things up for us and then we'll all go our merry way?
Yeah, I mean, I think thank you all for attending. Let me put it first that I think this is a great opportunity for the mansion. I think this brings so much that we haven't necessarily been able to do in the past, and I think it's going to really be a big step forward for us in terms of visitor experience. So I'm really excited to be able to see people try it in person. Besides myself and Danielle and Presley and Catherine, we've all certainly tried it multiple times, but being able to see people experience this for the first time and step into a mansion that, despite its age, is still evolving, I think it's going to be really special. So I'm really hoping that everyone who was on this webinar is going to be able to experience that in some capacity.
Alrighty. So thank you, Will. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. This has been great. If anybody hopped in late or had to go early, just so you know, this will be on YouTube after we've processed that and upload it. And we are all set for tonight. So thank you everyone and have a great night.